Let me. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, this is February 10th, 1986. This is Joe Todd, and interview with Mr. Nathan Tselee in Apache, and you go by Redbone?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where were you born?
Fort Cobb. Fort Cobb.
And when's your birthday?
11/25/22.
Mm-hmm. Who was your father?
Henry Nekish, his name. Nekiesh.
And who was your mother?
Eva.
What was her name before she was married?
Chango.
C-H-A-N?
Chio.
Gio. Okay. What tribe is your father?
Apache.
Apache. And your mother?
Apache.
Apache. Did you know your grandparents?
No.
Okay.
I didn't.
Ever hear any stories about the Apaches from the old days?
Not very many, just stories.
What stories did you hear?
Well, mostly what stories, some that I did hear was mostly, what we say, coyote stories or animal stories. But I don't quite remember, all the stories, but it's mostly that.
Were these stories mainly that the parents told the children? Or when would they tell you these stories? When you were a child?
Yeah.
What kind of work did your father do?
Well, he farmed the place. He farmed the place, and well, he had his cattle and
Where was the farm?
west of Fort Cobb.
As a small boy, what chores did you do on the farm?
Oh, well, after mostly I just not well. I helped milk. We milked the cows, or but after I got a little older, but mostly it's just bringing up the cows or maybe carrying in the wood or something. But after I got up, and after Mother passed away, well, they sent me to the Indian School. That's where I was raised up.
Which school?
Riverside Indian School. That's
When did you start going to school there? What year?
I don't even remember what year it was. 30, might have been in 31. I might have went to 31, 32, somewhere in there I went.
How many students were at Riverside?
Well, about 100 and some odd boys.
Was
Not
it
that many girls?
Yeah, so it's for boys and girls.
Yeah.
How big was the dormitory you stayed in?
Well, they house the 100 and I'd say maybe about 100 and some boys, and then enough to house that many. But that was all different tribes.
Yeah. What were your chores at the school?
Well, we cleaned up our room, made our own beds, and cleaned up. We had a designated area of cleaning up our rooms and maybe the hallway or maybe the sitting room or whichever it was. We cleaned up. Then, so it just cleaning up, in the dormitory.
How big was your room that you stayed in?
Oh, in the dormitories, it housed maybe 30 students, about 30 in the dormitory, in the big dormitories, but in the rooms, they held about maybe, depends on maybe 1, 2, maybe about 5 or 10 rooms had about 4. Then the others had maybe about 6. But the 2 big dormitories carried about 25 or something like that.
Where did you take your meals?
We had breakfast, dinner, and supper every day.
Did you have a separate dining room?
Yes, there was a separate dining room, the kitchen and the bakery combined, and then the dining hall for the students.
Did you raise your own food at Riverside, the students?
They did. They raised most of the meat, but they finally done away with that. But they had their own milk. They had their milk cows and beef cattle and hogs, and so.
Who was in charge of the school when you were there?
Well, when I first went with J.E. Shields. J.E. Shields was the principal then. Then they changed. I don't know. I don't remember who most all of them were afterwards. That he was the one that when I first went.
Did you know him, Mr. Shields?
Did I know him?
Yeah. What kind of man was he?
Well, I found that the Indian people really liked him. They really liked him. So the students, I found too, they respected him.
Have you heard any stories of the history of the Apache Indians, the Apache tribe?
Well, not really to speak about, no.
Where did the Apache Indians come from to Oklahoma?
Well, it's always just mentioned it, that we come from the north, that we came from the north.
How long were you at Riverside?
12 years.
12 years.
About 11 years, I guess, about 11, 12, about 11 years, I guess.
What did you do after Riverside?
After I left?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went in the Navy.
You did?
In the Navy for a little over 3 years, I guess.
Was that during the war?
During the war.
What did you do in the Navy?
Oh, we had gunnery school. I went to gunnery school in Great Lakes and took additional gunnery school at Gulfport, Mississippi. Then out of Mississippi, Gulfport, we shipped out, sent us to New Orleans, were shipped out of New Orleans Naval Base. Then, I was on several different ships. First was a cargo, and I made runs to South America and then back. And then I got on another ship. It was a tanker, what they call they had armed guards, or they had guns on merchant ships, and that's what we manned the guns on merchant ships, armed guards they call it. So that's in the Navy crew. So we went from, I went to, got off the merchant ship, cargo ship. I got on a tanker, and they done, haul what they call fuel for. So after I got off of that, then I got on another cargo ship, and we went down to New Guinea and back around on up. I guess we touched about all the islands, and all the way up in the Philippines. So it's just serving aboard merchant ships with gunnery on the. So that's.
Where were you when the war ended?
A little island way up in. The island. I think they bombed. Japan on Ulithi, I think they call it, Ulithi Island, just a little island not too far off.
Was there a big celebration when it ended?
Well, everybody was glad, yeah, everybody was glad. But
when did you come back to the States?
Well, it took us about almost 2 months, I guess, before we got back.
Anything that you remember in particular on the ships during the war? Like, were you ever attacked by the Japanese?
No, we never have been attacked. We just we run in a big coming out of going into. I think it's in Mandora, Philippine Islands, and was going into Lady Gulf, but that's where most of them. But they never did attack us. But we was in a big, awful big convoy. I mean, cruisers, destroyers, and merchant ships. We was on a cargo ship carrying bombs, so ammunition ship. So that's what we were carrying. But there was a lot of ships. You just see over the horizon nothing but ships. A lot of ships.
What'd you do after the Navy?
Well, I come back and I started to go to school, but I had been gone away from home so long that I just stayed with my dad, and we tried to farm. So I took a farm course on the GI Bill, and then I farmed a while. Yeah, I was having a hard time, so after Dad passed away, well then I had to I went to Lawton, and then that's where I found a little job, one end, and make ends meet. So I finally started to work for myself, and I would work for somebody, and then so I'd done a lot of remodeling on homes, storefronts, and just one thing I didn't get hold of, anything to do some work. So that's what I've done. So, sometimes it's ditch digging, anything to work, So that I worked for I got on with the maintenance crew at Fort Sill Indian School, and I worked there for about 11 years, I guess, and so until I found out I had worked for a paint crew at the post, and I had mixed lead base paint, and that lead base paint I got hold of it in my system. So over 20, 25 years, it just slowly you know, it eats away at your system, your muscles and all. So that's what happened to me. So I finally took a medical retirement. So and I finally found out what caused. And so I just took a medical retirement. So I'm on a total disability on medical retirement from the civil service. So this come up, and so I tried it. So it's not hard or anything, you know, physical like the kind of work I've been doing. So I just been trying to do something. You know, it's getting hard enough for us to live on now as it is. It is. So.
Do you work at the nutritional center here?
Yes, I work for the Green Thumb. They pay me. Well, now we're working 22 hours a week. So sometimes that 22 for us, you know. But otherwise, we have an opportunity to do something. But I do most of my work of evangelist. I preach the gospel to our Indian people of the Lord Jesus Christ. So, but I am not affiliated with any denomination now, but I have been brought up in the Baptist, North American and Southern Baptist, and I've been with a preach for the Methodist people missions. So I've done a lot of work for the Lord, so with different denominations. But that's what I'm doing now. But I haven't. I'm having a church service every Sunday morning at the Apache Tribal Complex, and we have Sunday morning service. So.
Is that in Anadarko?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who is the tribal chairman of the tribe now?
Amos Pee Wee Numpakit, he's the tribal chairman.
In the 1930s, did you do any work for the CCC or WPA?
No, I didn't. During that time, I stayed mostly at Riverside Indian School. I stayed there during the summer and the fall and winter. Well, I practically stayed there. Once I come home once in a while, but after I left the school, I just about lived there. So.
Did you speak Apache when you went to Riverside?
Oh, none. We just we didn't hardly. They wouldn't hardly let us speak Indian anyway.
I was going to ask, did they allow you to speak your native language?
No.
Why was that? Why wouldn't they allow you?
Well, it seemed like you get a whipping. It seemed like every time you hear somebody speaking their language. So no one hardly ever tried to speak their language when they were at school. So that's what I had been trying to do, was try to get our language and put it on tape where they could get hold of it. They have tried it a number of times through the Apache tribe, but they get it, but I don't know what they do with it whenever they. So I've been trying to get it.
Do you speak Apache?
Not enough to talk with you or no.
How does the Apache tribe relate to the other Apache tribes? Where you have the Jicarilla, Mescalero?
Well, they say that's why I say we came from the north, but they relate us pretty close to a band which came down from Canada a couple of years ago to visit us. That relation is very close of the Apaches. And then they relate us pretty close with the Hickory Apaches. But the Fort Sill Apaches and the Muscaleras and the Chiricahuas and the Warm Springs, I guess, but not no close relation.
Yeah.
Just the Hickory and the band up in Canada.
What's the name of the band in Canada?
Oh, I can't think of the name. I can't think of the name. It kind of got a little. My brother knows it, and he'll tell you. If he should be here in a minute.
When did the Apache come down from the north? Do you know?
Well, I think we've come down and then we go back because I've heard, that we've seen the waters to the south and we've seen the waters to the west, and so we've traveled quite a bit. But they didn't ever say, because and they talk about sometimes the people going up to mountains and hunt, and they hunt and then they come back.
Well, anything else about the Apaches that you want to talk about? Like, do you still use any of the Native American medicines?
On the medicine?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know too much about a lot of the medicines, but only what I've used, the peyote. I was raised up on the peyote. As a child, I know at home I was sickly, and that's all we had. That's all I used, for my flus and colds, and so.
Does it work?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I haven't found anything better.
Yeah.
I haven't found anything better. I've used. The doctor told me for my heart condition to take aspirin, and every day, every evening, he said. Well, so I've had to go to the hospital every time now I take aspirin, so I can't take it. So I have to be careful what I take now.
Well, I think we have a good interview. Good. I want to thank you.
Yeah. Well,